In the unforgiving heart of the wild, survival often comes down to instinct, both human and animal. But what happens when the line between predator and protector blurs? If you were surrounded by lions, would you face mercy or meet your fate? The African sun hung high in the sky, its relentless heat pressing down on the vast savanna. Ethan, a seasoned ranger, wiped the sweat from his brow as he moved cautiously through the dry grass, scanning for any sign of poachers. Reports had come in about illegal traps being set deep within the reserve, endangering the lions he had sworn to protect. His rifle was slung across his back, though he silently hoped he wouldn't have to use it as he continued his watchful walk. He spotted faint footprints, human, not animal, leading toward a distant cluster of trees. His pulse quickened. The poachers were near, but the brutal heat was taking its toll. Each step grew heavier, his throat dry and raw from dehydration. His radio crackled weakly, then fell silent. No signal. Still, Ethan pushed forward, determined to locate the traps before nightfall. Ethan had no idea his body was nearing its breaking point. The mission was dangerous, but he had faced worse. Until now, the relentless sun hammered down on his back as he pushed through the tall, dry grass. His canteen was nearly empty, and every breath scorched his lungs like fire. He had been walking for hours, tracking the faint signs of poachers, but the brutal heat was draining his strength, and his boots felt heavier with every step. His vision was slightly blurred from dehydration. He wiped the sweat from his brow and glanced at his radio. It was silent, no signal. He was completely alone. Then, up ahead, he spotted something, a rusted wire snare hanging from a tree branch, the kind used to trap lions. His heart pounded. The poachers had been here recently. He crouched to examine the ground, searching for fresh tracks, but a wave of dizziness hit him. His knees buckled. His head spun. He needed to turn back. Just as he made the decision to retreat, his body gave out. He collapsed beneath the shade of an acacia tree, his breath shallow, his limbs too weak to move. His vision faded to black as unconsciousness overtook him, leaving him vulnerable in the heart of the wild. A deep guttural growl rumbled through the air, pulling Ethan from the depths of unconsciousness. His body felt heavy, his throat unbearably dry, but instinct forced his eyes open. Blurred shapes moved around him, golden in the fading sunlight. His sluggish mind struggled to process the sight before him. A massive lion stood just feet away, its amber eyes locked onto him. Beside it, a lioness watched cautiously, her muscles tense, while a small cub peeked from behind her legs. Fear jolted through Ethan, but his body refused to move. He was defenseless. If the lions chose to attack, he wouldn't stand a chance. He braced for the inevitable, for sharp claws or crushing jaws, but none came. The lion, a towering male with a thick, dark mane, stepped closer, sniffing the air before letting out a soft huff. The lioness did the same, then sat down beside her cub as if settling in for the night. They weren't hunting him, they were watching him, guarding him. Confusion swirled in Ethan's mind, but exhaustion won again. As his body sank deeper into the dry earth, he realized something incredible. The lions weren't his enemies. They were his protectors. Ethan's mind drifted in and out of consciousness. From the haze of his exhaustion, a memory surfaced, one from years ago, deep in this very reserve. He had been younger then, newly stationed, when he heard the desperate cries of a trapped lion cub. Racing toward the sound, he found a tiny, terrified cub ensnared in a poacher's wire trap. The mother, a powerful lioness, paced nearby, her anguished roars filling the air. Ethan knew the risk, but he couldn't leave the cub to die. Slowly, carefully he approached, keeping his rifle slung over his back, hands raised in a show that he meant no harm. The lioness growled, but did not charge. Kneeling, Ethan worked quickly, his knife sawing through the brutal wire. The moment the cub was free, it stumbled back toward its mother, who nuzzled it protectively before turning her gaze to him. It was not a look of threat, but of understanding. That memory now burned in his mind as he lay weak beneath the acacia tree. Could it be? Could the massive lion standing over him now, watching him, be that same cub, all grown up? A bond long forgotten had not been broken. Instead, it had come full circle. The afternoon sun cast long golden rays across the savanna, the air thick with heat and the hum of distant insects. Ethan remained motionless beneath the acacia tree, his body weak, yet his mind sharpened by the presence of the lions. The massive male, Phoenix, sat a few feet away, his golden eyes gleaming in the fading daylight. The lioness and her cub nestled close to him, their bodies relaxed, yet their ears flicked at every distant sound. They were standing guard. A pair of hyenas prowled at the edge of the clearing, their eerie giggles breaking the stillness. Normally, Ethan would reach for his rifle, but he had no strength, no way to defend himself. He didn't have to. Phoenix lifted his head and let out a deep, resonant growl. In an instant, the hyena slunk away. It was then that Ethan understood. He was not just being observed, he was being protected. Whether it was instinct, recognition, or something deeper, these lions had chosen not to harm him, but to shield him. His fate was no longer in his own hands. He was at the mercy of the wild, yet safer than ever before. With that realization, exhaustion claimed him once more, and he drifted into an uneasy sleep. As the sun rose over the savannah, a growing sense of unease spread through the ranger station. Ethan was missing. He hadn't checked in, and every second that passed increased the danger he might be in. His fellow rangers, led by his closest friend Jeremy, quickly prepared for a search. They knew the risks: poachers, dehydration, even a predator attack. Armed with rifles and tracking dogs, they followed his trail, scanning the dry grasslands for any sign of him. Hours passed, the brutal heat bearing down on them, when suddenly one of the rangers spotted something. A footprint, then another, leading toward an acacia tree. They rushed forward, only to stop in shock. A pride of lions was gathered near the tree, watching them. Jeremy's grip tightened on his rifle. Had they found Ethan first? Was he even alive? But then, to his astonishment, the massive male lion, Phoenix, simply turned his head toward the tree, almost as if showing them the way. Jeremy's heart pounded as he knelt beside Ethan, his fingers pressing against his friend's neck. A pulse, weak but steady. Relief surged through him. "He's alive," he shouted to the team. The rangers moved quickly, preparing to lift Ethan onto a stretcher, but Jeremy couldn't ignore the weight of Phoenix's gaze. The massive lion stood just a few feet away, unmoving, watching. The rest of the pride lingered nearby, their golden eyes glowing in the morning light. Not a single lion showed aggression, only quiet observation. As the rangers carefully hoisted Ethan, Phoenix took a slow step forward, his deep, rumbling breath vibrating through the air. Jeremy froze. Was the lion going to stop them? But then something incredible happened. Phoenix let out a low, resonant huff, almost like a sigh, before stepping aside. The message was clear. Go. The lions had protected Ethan through the night, but now they were letting him go. As the rangers carried him toward the vehicle, Jeremy glanced back one last time. Phoenix stood tall, watching them leave, a silent guardian, a protector of an unspoken bond that would never be forgotten. Ethan stirred as the hum of an engine and the murmur of voices pulled him from the fog of unconsciousness. His body ached, his throat dry as sand, but he was alive. He was safe. Blinking against the bright morning light, he saw Jeremy's relieved face hovering over him in the back of the rescue vehicle. "We thought we lost you," Jeremy said, his voice thick with emotion. Flashes of the night before came rushing back, the unbearable heat collapsing under the acacia tree, and then the lions. Ethan's breath hitched. "The lions? They didn't hurt me," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. Jeremy exchanged a look with the other rangers, disbelief and wonder written across their faces. "They protected you." Ethan's mind swirled with disbelief and gratitude. Whatever had happened out there, one thing was certain: he had survived not despite the lions, but because of them. Weeks later, while back on patrol, Ethan spotted Phoenix watching him from a distance. The massive lion stood atop a rocky outcrop, his golden mane rippling in the wind. Their eyes met, not as enemies, nor as strangers, but as two beings bound by an unspoken connection. Ethan's journey into the wild had started as a mission to protect, but in the end, it was the lions who protected him. In that fleeting moment, fear gave way to trust, and a bond was forged, one that would never be forgotten. Nature, in its mysterious way, reminds us of the profound ties that link humans and animals. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you liked this story. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.